Hello. So today we are going to start this patterns in music and how they relate, and we can take patterns that we find in music and turn them into patterns in art. And so this is the finished product that we're going to create, and this is based on the song Mary Had a Little Lamb. So if you look at the notes here, what we did was we looked for the same note over and over and over again that was on the same line or in the same space, and we created a symbol for that note. So in this case it was a red X, and so every time we see that note, B, 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 all the B's, the note B, are red X's. You can see the great thing about this music is not only does it have the music notes, but it also has the letter note written above it. So the symbol we used for A was a circle, an open circle. So every time there was an A, it was an open circle. Every time there was a C, it was a purple triangle. Every time it was a D, it was a green star. And then these same symbols that you see here are repeated and drawn up here in our work. So we have X, circle, triangle, circle, X, circle, triangle, circle, X, 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 circle, 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 circle. So that's how we get this finished patterns in art based on the patterns in music that we find in the song Mary Had a Little Lamb. So the way that you start this, you're going to start with a white piece of paper, a long skinny white piece of paper, and you need to write your name and the day you have art, day A, day B, day C. You're going to flip it over, and then you're going to get manila paper to go under your work. And you're going to need 2 pieces of manila paper so that you can stretch them out and make them a little bit longer so that you can see the manila paper goes along the edges all the way around. So 1 manila paper is just the exact length of the white, so that's why you need 2 to overlap and stretch so that then you can fit the white on there. And you're going to get an egg tray with the 6 rainbow colors and popsicle sticks for each of the colors. Alright, and then I'd like you to do some sort of rainbow order over here. So on my finished example, I started with red and worked my way down to violet. If you want to start with green at the top and work your way down, just as long as you keep it in the rainbow order, that's fine with me. But I'm going to start with red, and you're going to scoop up some red. And if you're all wanting to use the same color at the same time, you're going to have to take turns. You're going to scoop up a little bit of red with the popsicle stick, and you're going to put a dot of it on one side of your paper at the top. And then you're going to scoop up some orange, and you're going to put a dot of orange next to the red, but you want to make sure that they don't touch so that you don't get red on this popsicle stick. So you don't want to touch the popsicle stick to the red paint and then put the popsicle stick back in the orange, and then it ruins it for everybody at your table. It's really important with the yellow. You don't want to ruin the yellow for everybody at your table. So make sure when you're putting yellow paint down on your paper that you don't accidentally touch a different color with the popsicle stick. And I accidentally dripped a little yellow on the orange, but that's okay. You can't be perfect all the time. So the next color in the rainbow is green, and then blue and purple. Now if you get to purple and it doesn't reach all the way at the bottom, which mine's pretty close so I'm good enough, but let's say your purple stops up here, then you need to repeat red, orange, yellow until you get to the bottom. Alright, so I'm done with the paint, so I'm going to move this out of my way so it doesn't get in my way. And then you're going to get yourself a little piece of tagboard scrap, and you're going to take this tagboard and you're going to set it on the paper, and you're going to pull the paint across your paper so that you streak the paint all the way across. Now keep the tagboard down on your paper, touching all the time, and you just keep pulling until you get to the end. And you can see I ran out of paint up here. I ran out of red, yellow, and orange paint. I didn't have enough over here to pull all the way across, but I had plenty of blue, purple, and green, and that's okay. And you can see my blue overlaps my purple a little bit, but this is just the idea so that you can just kind of get that sweeping motion. So this is okay. So this is day 1. You're going to take this paper, long paper with your name on it and paint. You're going to put this on the drying rack, and you're going to put these manila papers back over by the sink, and then you can start to create your patterns and your symbols in your music. You probably need about 4 or 5 different colors. All right, so the first line starts with a B. So I want you to pick a shape or a symbol that you want to represent the bees in Mary Had a Little Lamb. So I think I will use a heart for B. So I'm going to draw a heart over the letter B, and now I need to find all of the bees in Mary Had a Little Lamb and make those all hearts. And I'm using different colors just so it's easy to see when the notes change and look for those patterns with the color and the shape. But the color will not come into play on the finished example because we'll just be using black on top of the rainbow paint. All right, now the next, let's focus on A. So what do I want A to be? What shape or symbol do I want it to be? I'm gonna make it a square or a rectangle. So every A is gonna be a rectangle. The letter G, I think I will do a circle for all the G's. All right, and the last letter is a D. And I think I will do a star for the D. Okay, and so there is me finding patterns in the music, the repeated notes over and over again, and turning those, assigning different symbols and colors to those notes to look for the visual pattern. So there's a pattern with the notes, in sound in the music, and then we're looking for the repeated pattern in art by assigning a shape and a color to each of those notes. It creates a pattern, so you can see the repetition. This line repeats this line here almost repeats this line, but then it adds a star. But then this line repeats this line, so there's a repeated pattern skipping every other line. Okay, so on the second day, when your painting is dry, it's going to look like this, and you're going to have this as your key. The first thing I want you to do is create the staff, the bar. This is called a music staff, this fun shape here. I want you to create that over here like it is real music that you're drawing. And you probably want to start with a pencil, and you're just going to draw right on top of the paint. And if you make a mistake, hopefully don't press too hard, and hopefully you'll be able to erase. So I'm going to start at the bottom of the staff, and it's a circle. So I'm going to draw a circle here, and then it swerves around and comes up all the way to the top and swirls around, and then it becomes a spiral here. Spirals around like that. So if you draw it in pencil and you make a mistake, you can try and erase it and try again. Then take a black color pencil and color in your music staff. Now we're going to use black color pencil, so you're probably going to have to sharpen your black color pencil as you go. Or you can bring your black color pencil up to me and I'll sharpen it for you, or give you one that's already sharpened. And I want you to press hard with a black color pencil, with hopefully not breaking the tip like I did on my first couple pencils. But press hard to make a nice dark heavy black mark on top of this bright vibrant paint. It'll make this black really stand out. And I'm thickening up this line a little bit because I kind of made a mistake and went off my pencil line a little bit, so now I'm going to go through and make it a little bit thicker to kind of make it look like I did that on purpose. Alright, so there's my staff. So now I am going to repeat this pattern and draw it on my paper. And what I want you to do is do 2 lines going across. So you're going to do this line about halfway, and then you start the second line to finish off the top here. So don't draw your pattern too small. And if it doesn't exactly fit, just make it work the best you can. So my first shape is a heart, so I'm going to draw a nice heart. Then the next shape is a rectangle, and then a circle. I'm going to try to keep my shapes about the same size and try and keep them as straight as possible. So I'm going to try and stay within this red paint. Then I have 3 hearts. Try to keep my hearts about the same size and about the same height. 3 rectangles. I'm just repeating what I see here onto here with a black color pencil. Next thing is a heart, and then 2 stars. 1, 2. Okay, now I have all this space left over on my paper, so I'm going to start the second line right after the star here. Alright, I was able to fit 2 lines of the music across in one line. So now I'm going to start my next, and you should start to see a pattern, especially if you can fit 2 lines going across. Your next line will be very similar to this first line, and try and line up the shapes right underneath to really show off that pattern and let your viewer see that pattern a little bit easier. So now I'm going to focus kind of here in the orange. You can see so far the second line is the exact same as the first line because there's the repeated patterns. Patterns are things that repeat themselves over and over again. It's not a pattern if it doesn't repeat. So we found the patterns in the music because there's lots of repetition in music, and we're turning it into patterns in art by turning those notes into symbols. I'm trying, wherever this second line is the same as this top line, I'm trying to make it about that same size. Okay, so you can see the second line is the exact same as the first line, only it adds the letter D onto the end, or a star. Alright, and so that's the first 4 lines. So I have 4 more lines to do, so I need to fit 1, 2 more of these right down here in the green and the blue until my entire paper is filled up like this. And you're going to turn this and your original music paper with your name on it, you're going to turn both of these into the turn-in box when you're finished. And that is going to complete our patterns in music, turning them into patterns in art. Finding patterns in music, something that repeats itself over and over again, and creating that in an art pattern. Good job.